Hi again. This is a second video on the options for the Culminating project. This one has two different options. The second option is program development or developing a program. The third option is program evaluation or evaluating an existing program. So this guideline is fairly straightforward. I just wanted to highlight the thing that you might be a little unsure or confused about. So again, it has 5 different parts. Part A and Part B are both literature reviews, but the reviews have different focus. Part A focuses on a certain social problem. Part B focuses on interventions or programs that try to alleviate this social problem. So I think to make this work, you might want to think and work backwards. First, identify a program you are interested in, and then try to understand what the social problem is that the program tries to tackle. So, for example, a lot of people work in child welfare settings. So if they're doing a certain program, whether it's visitation programs, whether it's parenting classes with the clients, their target social problem should always be child abuse and neglect. Okay. On the other hand, if a person is working in a mental health agency trying to provide case management to people who have mental illnesses, then the social problem is going to be mental illness. So the first section, Part A, is again on the social problem. So you need to talk about how many people experience the problem and the recent trends about the problem. Alright, I'll move on to the next part. Next part again is about programs, interventions that have been researched. So that's why we call those evidence-based programs, because research has shown they are kind of effective, more or less. So you need to select programs that have been researched and probably recognized by a government agency such as SAMHSA as one of the existing evidence-based programs. To do that, I can help you go to, first I googled evidence-based program for mental health, and then the first link was this one. It's SAMHSA at the Government Agency on Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services. So if you click on this link, you'll come here, which is the National Registry of Evidence-Based Programs and Practices. You may want to search by keyword or view all interventions, and I think they do have different topics, okay? For example, substance abuse, behavioral health, criminal, juvenile justice, and so on and so forth. But let's try search by keyword. So let's try to search parenting. Click search So we have 4 different pages of existing evidence-based programs. Okay, so this is just one way that you can find existing evidence-based programs that I need you to review. Okay, you can also use library databases and try to look for studies on different programs on a certain problem. Okay, so let's go back to the Word document. So in section B, you have to do 3 different programs, and for each program, I ask you to do the same. Basically, a brief description, the major program components, including activities. For example, the facilitator length, topics for each session. The last question is about the research evidence that shows this program is effective. So you have to do the same review on 3 different programs. Moving on to the next section, section C. Here you do have 2 different options. Option 1 is program development. Option 2 is program evaluation. However, no matter what option you choose, you still need to do the same things. First, you need to do a program logic model, which we went over in the advanced research class. So I put the things that you need to include for this logic model: inputs, activities, outputs, and results, ranging from immediate to intermediate to long-term effects. These are also called outcomes. So the second thing you need to do when you describe the program is use this framework to describe a program you want to develop or evaluate. The first part is needs, second part is expected effects, third part activities, and the last part is context. So these are pretty straightforward questions. Again, this applies to both program development and program evaluation options. So I think it might be a little easier for you to do an existing program because you don't have to start from scratch coming up with like the program mission, goals, and objectives, also the major activities, the major step strategies or actions of the program. So that's just my opinion. So moving on to section D. Here, this is for you to evaluate a program. So this section is about collecting data. So again, you need to interview people, or you can use some standardized instruments like the ones that we used for our paper for the advanced research. Okay. So this is only applies to program evaluation. And here applies to program development. Even though you are only developing a program, we also want you to hypothetically talk about how you would go about evaluating it. You will need to create a measurement tool to evaluate the program. Maybe it's a satisfaction survey or open-ended interview questions. So you will have the measurement tool ready. And also you could use existing tools, of course, like the standardized questionnaires that you can find in the literature. So that's section D. The last section is conclusions and recommendations. So this part applies to both options. I think it might be a little easier if you actually doing a program evaluation, because based on your research you can summarize the strengths and weaknesses of the program. You can then talk about how you would address the weakness of the program, and talk about how feasible it is to implement your suggestions at the agency. If you are going to do the program development option, you can still talk about these things hypothetically. Like, I want you to be a little critical of yourself. Just critique yourself very hard. Think about the program, what kind of strength, weaknesses the program you will create or develop have, and how you would go about addressing those weaknesses. So again, if you do a program development paper, then this part will have to be hypothetical. So I highlight some things here, like the needs. Again, if you are going to do the program development option, these questions you might need to do some interviews in order to get the answers. It's kind of like a small needs assessment, a research project. Okay, you can interview clients, community leaders, or social workers to get the answers. Here again, this is also about data collection. This applies only to the program evaluation option. Okay, that's about it. Thank you for watching.